problems new writers struggle with. They don't know, well, I have this idea, but I don't know what more to say about this. So how to develop, how to give examples, how to elaborate and explain is you are not outliers. This is precisely what happens to new writers, right? Like, I don't know how to extend this. What else can I say? Remember, part of this class, and as much as I think that 1 month is not enough, these are some of the basic things to begin to understand even after this class is over. These are the areas that I will need to develop. This is what I need to think. I have good ideas, but I don't know how to develop, or I struggle with developing. So read my comments and try to write a longer paragraph, right? Number one. And that is also true of your narrative paragraphs or any other paragraphs that you will write. If you're writing 2 or 3 lines, first of all, it's not a paragraph. Minimum 5 lines. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So for those who wrote 3 lines or 4 lines, remember, you're not even meeting the minimum requirement of a paragraph. That's why I encourage people to start writing. You can kind of give it, polish it, but classroom is a good place because we have a longer class to think through ideas so that you don't have to like second guess yourself when you get home. So that's the other thing. So make use of class time, ask questions here so that it's, you know, that you don't have to kind of, not that you shouldn't email me if you have questions, but so that you have the answers before you get to work. Because I will tell you, it is my summer class too, so I'm not always on the computer, you know, I have to run my errands, sometimes it takes long. I will try my best to respond to you no later than like one day. If you email me in the afternoon, sometime in the evening or at night, you will hear. But I can't say immediately because I have a life too, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm trying very hard.
We would hope so.
I hope so too. So I'm not always at the computer. I might not be able to answer that. So be patient. I do check my, especially when I'm teaching, right? My emails, school emails all the time. So remember to ask those questions before, and don't panic. I think a lot of problems are also because people,
self-doubt.
Which Gloria, you like sent me like 6 versions, right?
Yes.
Look, all the time I have one draft, wait patiently. If I'm not able to give you feedback, that's on me. I will extend the deadline for the final version, right? But once you submit one copy, the 2 attempts are there because sometimes mistakes do happen, right? Sometimes it's the format, and this time it was nothing but mistakes for a lot of people. So what happens is that you will put the draft in the correct folder, right? Submission box. Wait for me to give you your feedback, and usually the feedback will come like this. If your file, as it should be, is in .docx, which is Word, right? Format. That's how you will submit your files. You will not compose on Blackboard submission text because that's like giving notes and things like that, right? I cannot make corrections on it. I cannot give detailed feedback. I can read it. So always compose, write elsewhere. On your, open the Word document, compose it, write your paragraph, and I will talk about how to format your document. And always save it as a Word in Word format. It should say .docx, right? Older versions sometimes DOC, but now it's DOCX, right? That's what it is. If it says PDF, once again, PDF is like a final version. There's nothing, I can read it, I can give you extra comments, but I cannot give comments line by line. Pages, Google Docs, not good. And this is not just for my class, this is what you will need to do for all classes at CCRI and many other places. Compose separately, write in a separate document. Do not compose on Blackboard. That's the whole idea of like making you write there. All you have to do, you have your written thing, you can compose. Those of you who have their laptops and want to compose there, I can come by and look at it. That's fine with me too. You already have a version up there. You don't have to do handwrite, you know. It's up to you. You don't have a laptop here, you want to handwrite, that's fine. But you will have to transfer that onto another document, right? It's absolutely important to remember to do that. And then put your paper, upload your paper, your assignment in the correct folder. Wait for me to give you feedback. I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think you get notification when something is uploaded in your file.
Yeah, we do.
All you have to do is then open it, and then open the file. And that was a good question. I should have anticipated that. I think it was Jordan who first said, I can see your feedback. I can see the paper that you have attached, or the link, but it only has it's the paper I wrote. Were you able to figure it out?
Yeah,
Right.
I did understand, yeah.
So if you look at it carefully, what it does is it compresses the file. All you have to do is when you open the link that right? Some of you know, it says link, open the link, click on the link below and open it to see my comments, to see my feedback. So once you open it, on the right hand side, you will see these little bubbles, right? They are comment bubbles, icons. Because what it does is it closes those comments. Give me a second. You people know what bubbles are, huh? Like in comic books. So it'll have something like that on the right hand side. You click on those little icons on the side, right? If you don't have any icons, either I've forgotten or you have a perfect paper. You click on that icon, right? One by one. Usually if you click on one, it'll open all. But all you have to do is to click on those to read my comments, and it'll take you to that line where I'm commenting on it. Right? So that allows you in some ways to look at line by line, right, comments. And you will forgive me because there is a little bit of pressure on time. Sometimes maybe I don't do as much positive reinforcement. I'm only focused on what you need to correct. But sometimes I do write like, it was good to read, good ideas, right? When in doubt, when you don't know, ask me. Because I'm in a rush, I want people to kind of make the changes. So this is what you will find. Once you click on that link, it'll have and I can't do that if you do it in PDF, if you write in submission text. Is that clear to people? So once you do that, then you revise it, and it should be very easy. The first time around, I think I gave more explicit feedback, in the sense I corrected, I edited and proofread for people, which means I said, your spelling mistake is here, there is something, or no, you have to do that. Never submit an assignment, even a draft, without editing, right? Which means after you write, give it another read. Proofread. Have I missed? Use the spell check function, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these are basic things that you will need to do to hand in a professional looking, right, assignment. So I give that feedback, when you read that feedback, you make the changes, and sometimes they are not just editing changes. I will start giving you things for you to figure out. the content is not enough, I'm not quite sure. You have to figure out, okay, maybe the story or the paragraph does not make sense. Sometimes I'll say, the topic sentence does not capture the main idea. Don't expect me to give you the main idea. You'll have to rethink, go back on the drawing board and to think how to write it, right? That's how it is going to be. Then you write your draft. Always name the file. That was another thing that took long. Always name the file that you submit, right? So, for example, Carmen, if you are submitting it, it will be like Carmen, and your last name is Cruz, Carmen C. narrative para or narra para, something, right? Draft. The next time for the final, you just have to change it to final. That allows me to recognize which file I said, right? And that's how it should be. Rather than submission text or narrative paragraph, put your file, put the assignment name and in the file that you say. Put it in the final one, and the final one, you're going to go over it again, and that's the one you will get a grade in. Don't be alarmed if in your draft and your journals you see 0, because they are not supposed to be counted in the grade. That's why I have to give it, otherwise it won't let me. I hate to give a 0, but it won't let me. I have to put a value there, right, for it to register. In any case, you can always ask. It shouldn't be that hard for you to figure out your final grade even before you get to the final grade, yeah? So that's about uploading files and composing. Now, in terms of your format, this is your paper. This is your document, I should say, because paper means a physical thing. Who writes nowadays? Okay, so here is your document that you open, right? So page numbers, usually you can check in MLA format. I will talk to you because this is what we use in English. Get used to it. It's a pain, you know where, but we'll have to work with it. Modern Languages Association. What does writing format MLA guidelines means? It means every discipline follows a certain way of composing documents. So if you're in sciences, they follow something. This, you know, there is like the Chicago style. There is the Modern Languages Association. There is something APA, right? American Psychology Association. They all have different formats. It's nothing. Honestly, it is like academics being territorial. So every discipline has a different style of how you will write footnotes, endnotes, how will you quote and cite. Cite is give sources for your information that you're putting in there. In English, we follow something called Modern Languages Association format. If you Google, those of you who have your, you can look at it. You can mark it. It's called MLA, and Purdue University has an online lab. It's called Purdue OWL, right? You can find it right now and do MLA. It will tell you how to do it, how to find, how to compose, cite and all, and I'll refer to it later on. So here is your document that you've opened. You always, in academic papers, in college level classes, you will always give page numbers. Even if you're writing 3 lines, that should say page number right here. Sometimes people, and no need to put it in header or footer, just this, or sometimes people do their last name also, right? So for example, it could be Cruz 1. You don't have to do it. And the next page will be Cruz 2. So here it is. You want to put it here, you want to put it here, it doesn't matter to me. I think MLA has a specification where to put it, but as long as I can see the page. So that you get, it should be second nature to you to do all these things. On the left hand corner is a bunch of information. This can be single spaced. single space. Lines are one after the other without a gap in between, right? It should be your name first, not my name, your name, right? Course and section. For those 500, 301. English, of course. Name, course, right? Assignment name, always. Journal 1, journal week 1, journal entry. I don't care. Something that indicates, that lets the reader know, or instructor know, what is the assignment that I am grading or reading. Narrative paragraph draft. Narrative paragraph 1. So the final one can be 2. Yeah? Always assignment name. Date. Date of submission. Right? And you know what happens? Sometimes people save this and then write again, and they forget to change the assignment name and they forget to change the date. Don't do that. Yeah? So, date. Always put date. Now, if you are putting my name, you can do that, but not at the top. You can do it like after course and section if you want. And if you are using my name, spell it correctly. Otherwise, don't. I really don't care if you don't want to, but if you do it, then let's not have variation. All you have to do is to open it up, look at the syllabus. You'll have my name. You can just use Professor Bhasin or Bhasin. It's perfectly okay not to use, just to put the name, or Nita Bhasin, whatever you want to do it. But no Basin, no Nita, no all variations, no Neta, So, or skip it. Why? So not for journals, but you can, even if you want to. But I'm not requiring you to give a title. This is another thing. One way to own your writing is to give your own creative title. The creative title does not mean that here you write narrative paragraph. It means you give a title to, for example, in narrative paragraph, the story that you have. We're going to work on description today. Some title, your own title, not high school level paragraph, right? Narrative paragraph, underline, no. I know it's a narrative paragraph. I want to know, how would you present and title your paragraphs? That paragraph. Okay? Then starts your paragraph. It's not a paragraph in an essay, which is what we are building up to, if it is not indented. When I write emails, you'll see I don't have to indent because it's an email. I'm not writing an essay. But for MLA, right, indent. Indent means the first line, hit tab, it moves to the side, the next one, next one, next one. This is how it should be. At least 5 lines, right? That constitutes a paragraph. So many of you, many of you, if you have noticed, you noticed after I wrote to you, no indent. This is called indent. And it even says so in the chapter, the narrative chapter, or the first few units where we're talking about test and all. It says that's what it is, indent the paragraph. All paragraphs, FYI, look at the book and you will find it, paragraphs are indented. That's what it should look like. Yeah? Everybody clear? Anyone who has confusion about how to do the essay, how to do the paragraph, how to submit, how to upload? Yes or no? Everyone clear? Is there anyone who does not know how to physically actually do it on Blackboard? How many of you are there? Okay, so no, that's perfectly fine. If you don't use this kind of writing, or ways of composing, how would you know? Right? So sometimes we tend to speak about it. So how many of you know, have figured it out how to do it, how to upload?
I figured it out
Okay.
more than once. I sent you more than one copy.
Okay, very good. So someone will have to show Carmen, it's your responsibility, to how to upload it on, right, the Blackboard course page. Right? Someone will take the responsibility, you will do that when we have a break or sometimes, but make sure that you touch base with someone. Please, if you raise your hand and you say you're going to help, you have to let her know. You will? One person. Good. I mean, people can. It's not a problem. You can do it in the break, you know. Someone just, it's very simple.
I would have, but I only do.
Yeah. Composing on cell phone, it has to be difficult, Sincere.
No, it's not.
It's not?
The only thing
You
is,
young
like
people,
my last
like
English
what?
class, I can do PDF.
I can barely read.
But here, it's not PDF.
No PDF.
So I don't
PDF
understand.
is only on phone. You know why people do it? Because people send documents. You sign something. PDF is the final version. You can't make changes to it. That's why we don't have PDF.
Okay.
I mean, how am I going to make changes or point out where it is? So no PDFs. Everyone clear about it? If you have other questions about formatting, you don't know how to do it, where to find stuff on the Blackboard course page, today is the day. Yeah? So deadline for the final narrative paragraph is tonight. Right? Those who have already done it, wait patiently. Before the next one is due, I will give you the grade. You'll have to give me time to read. Right? Because I read too many versions of it. I need a break once everything is in. Those of you who already have their journal entries and have the comments, fine. Those of you who have submitted it in PDF, but I already read it and gave you comments, don't bother, because I see people are now submitting journal entries again. It's just too many documents. Next time I will only give one attempt. You'll have to write to me to say, I messed up, can I get another attempt? And I'll make it up. Because otherwise I think people just keep putting documents in. One draft, wait, one final. If you mess up something and you write, no, write to me and say, look, I already put it in, so I'm not late, but I think there was a mistake, can I upload a copy? And I'll give you another attempt. But no randomly putting documents wherever you want. So journal entries, those who have not written journal entries at all, you have to do it. Otherwise, it's a 0. Well, 0 for this week. And in the cumulative one, I'll take points off. Journal entries have to be fuller. You should really, they should be reflective. Don't just like, I'm going to just write whatever this is. No, it will help so that when you look back on it, when you move to 10:05 next semester or next summer or whenever you plan to take it, you can look at some of the things. Okay, here is my development as a writer. This is what so be honest, because you're not writing, you're not evaluating me, you're thinking about your struggles, the first class, college class in terms of writing. Is that clear to people? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very quickly, what I'm going to do is give you the rubric. Rubric is the criteria, the basis on which your paragraphs and essays will be graded. Because I can't just say, well, I like it or I don't like it. So there is more or less a rubric. I will not break it down because there's not enough time. Like this is it, but you should know. Okay. So here, through my comments, you will know which is the area where you need to focus more. So here is the rubric, which is up there too. I'll give you a very quick version of it. You can read it, but I want you to understand. This is in the line of like how you have to put your, how you have to put the content and the form and the structure, form, and organization of the paper has to kind of work with the content. What you write and how you write have to go together. So something along the lines is the rubric, the grading rubric. First and foremost is idea. Idea will include your thesis, your argument, your main idea, how good it is. We'll come to thesis also, right? Something along those. That is what I'm looking at. How original, how good it is. And I actually do not have a problem. I think very rarely do people don't have this. Number two, here is the problem. Development of idea. At least in short form, development. This will mean examples, evidence, elaboration. How do you develop that idea? Add layers to it. That's where many people struggle. One can have a brilliant idea, but how do you in some ways provide evidence? That's number three. You should all be familiar with it. Organization. For you, for the paragraph, it is basically going to be the test, right? Topic, sentence, evidence, summary, they're in the right place, right order, organization. In the essay, that's what it is. Body paragraphs. How is your writing organized? Organization. Number four, grammar and punctuation. Sometimes people say it as mechanics of writing, right? It's important. You'll have grammar quiz today. You will also need to spell check to implement all those things that you are learning in your writing. Grammar and punctuation. Number five, I call it presentation. I don't know what else people call it. Presentation. This is exactly the kind of thing I was saying. If you're giving a hard copy, is it stapled? Is it formatted correctly? Is the person following the right writing style, MLA? Are they providing quotations which are correctly cited? All that comes under presentation. Should be I'm just going to write MLA, we'll come to that. What are the values? 25, 25, 25. 75% of your grade. 15, 10. Now math is not my strong point, it is 20, it's 100, right? There you go. 25, 25, 25, 15, 10.
75.
I got it earlier, I think. Right? So development of idea, organization, grammar and punctuation, presentation. I mean, if depending on the paragraph, I don't think that I can take the whole 15 out because, because within that too, I have to think of it in terms of how many points you take off, right? So the more mistakes you have, the more points you lose.
Question, because I'm not too good with cursive. For two, this is examples.
Examples, that's my bad because I was writing in early. Examples, evidence, elaboration. How do you develop that idea? So that's evidence. which you have in test anyway. Topic sentence, evidence, summary statement, and transition. Yes. Transitions would come into organizations. Is that clear to people? Yeah? Very good. Any questions? Oh, sorry, I removed it. I think I need to remove this. Okay, the other things that you have to remember, which is, I want you to, these are very, for the narrative paragraphs, these are personal stories. You're not borrowing someone else's story, you're not asking. Understand the concept of narrative paragraphs. Tell your story. Most of you did, some of you did. I don't want comment or editorial on what's happening in the world, your story. And you'll have to be so brutal with your writing. Brutal in the sense when you're like, I know I want to put it in, but it does not fit. Tighten it, take away the dead wood, take away all the details that you don't need. I know they're dear to you, but that's what any editor will do. Does it flow well? Is it compact? I always compose when I write something. This might work for you, it might not work for you. Always have another document open, I call it dump paper. I literally dump things in it, right? When I like, this is a great idea, okay, it cannot fit in, but maybe I can use it later. Dump, save it. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't, if you are like having a hard time deleting something, because it has to be compact. I don't know whether we'll have time, but concision and precision is important. Get rid of dead wood. Dead wood is something that you're repeating over and over again. You've already told the reader what the idea is. Why repeat it? Keep the story tight. Keep the paragraph tight. These are good ways of editing and keeping an eye out for what are the things that I need to do in my writing. Is that clear to people? Yeah? And don't take it personally. These are constructive criticism. This is literally about writing. Very few, it's like, oh my God, the person is just, I mean, if you don't think and feel like I'm going to just wing it and come up with an idea, yeah, that shows that you've not paid attention. But it's really not about, there's no comment here in terms of intelligence and all that. Does not belong in this way. It's only the effort you make. Some people already have a flair for writing. They probably are used to using and speaking English, the standard English, so they might have an advantage, but others will follow, and you can do that. Slowly you can learn. That's it. There's a difference between speaking casually and speaking formally. Writing casually, texting and all, you do that all the time, but writing in an academic way. And those two are two different ways of doing it, and it's good to have both ways. Nobody says get rid of your casual way of talking, chatting through text. You also have to learn to distinguish between the two. Is this clear to people? I don't want to have to do this again.
Okay.
In terms of submission, yes.
Question. What does number 5 say?
Number 5 is presentation.
Well, I suck out with cursive. I'm sorry, but I do.
That's okay. You'll have to also, and I think this is also tells you, like, nowadays people don't teach you how to write cursive, right? Write in short form. So presentation, and you don't have to apologize, Gloria, because my writing is bad. So that's what your rubric will look like. Right? If we have no more questions, we carry on, right? Because we have a lot of things on our agenda. Everyone make an attempt to put everything up there by today. This is the only time I will give you an extension. I'm not taking points off. By tonight, if you've not written the journal entry, 11:59, it should be in. If you have not written the narrative paragraph, it should be in. If you have not finalized the narrative paragraph, revised it, do it. If you're late and you have not written and not gotten my feedback, too bad, you still have to put your final paragraph in if you want a grade. Period. Next time, make sure that you do the work in time. Yeah? And read my comments. Do not keep putting those things, revising without taking my instructions into consideration. All right. So now we are going to actually do the quiz before we do anything else. Then we start with your, we'll start with your descriptive paragraph. I hope people have read. It should be quick. I know we have only one class, but it can be done. Yeah? Okay. Ready for the quiz? How about you take 5 minutes? It's 9:40 according to that clock. You take 5 minutes, review on your, I didn't mean to go out. I meant to review your books so that you can take the quiz. Right? And then put the books away. Nouns, pronouns, remember? So review. I give you 5 minutes and then I'll come and distribute the papers. And you will need to do your own work. I will be standing at your head looking at. So once you get it, have your pencils ready. And 10 questions, that's what it is.